my God. He's hugging me. He's hugging me. Dad, grab my phone. I don't want to move. Dad?
Welcome to Big Flick Energy, and I hope you saw my first episode in this 3-part series of what happened at DC FanDome. But this one is going to focus on the TV shows that we got some reveals for. So, pretty much, I couldn't do one full-length video, as I mentioned in the previous video, because of how long the audio is for all of it. So I'd rather just do 3 videos, post them separately, and I feel like it's much more manageable that way. And people that just want to watch one can watch one. If you want to watch 2, you can watch 2. If you want to watch 3, you can watch 3. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of this, and I hope you enjoy all the shows that DC has planned. So next up, we have the shows. The first show being The Flash, which just finished Season 7 and is heading to Season 8. And pretty much all they did was they gave us a first look at the new costume that The Flash is going to have, which is pretty much the same costume from before, but with gold boots. And apparently it's something that Grant Gustin, the actor for Flash, has been wanting for a really long time, so good for him. I thought it was a pretty basic thing though, so yeah, not gonna talk about that too much. So next up, we got Aquaman King of Atlantis, which is gonna be a 4-part short mini-series, which, even though James Wan is helping out in it, is not going to be DCU canon. And we got a trailer and a scene for it. And honestly, this show, it interests me. I mean, it looks pretty funny, and I'll definitely check it out. Why not? Next up, though, probably the biggest show is Peacemaker, where we got a panel and a trailer. And in the panel, they let it slip, saying that they want more, which makes me feel like there's going to be a Season 2, especially with all the power that Warner Bros. Is giving to James Gunn. So, in the trailer, I'm not going to go too in-depth on it, but some of the things that stood out to me were that guy that was wearing a green mask, which was Judo Master, which looks like he's going to be one of the antagonists. So that wasn't TDK, even though TDK is apparently alive according to James Gunn. It was Judo Master, which is an entirely different character. Something else that really stood out to me from the trailer was Vigilante. Honestly, I think by the end of the show, he's going to be my favorite character. I was watching him in that trailer, and just all the mannerisms that he had reminded me so much of Deadpool. Not necessarily what was coming out of his mouth, but just the way that he moved reminded me so much of him. And I really feel like people are going to fall in love with this character, and he's going to be the fan favorite by the end of the show. So, honestly, I thought the trailer was alright. It didn't really reveal much, which is fine for a trailer to do, but like some of the jokes didn't hit, like the butt baby joke. That one I didn't really find that funny. But then you had like the eagle joke, and honestly I found that one pretty funny. Pretty excited for this show, and I'm looking forward to see what James Gunn can do with this, and if there's a Season 2, I'm excited for that too. I've actually made a video of a potential Suicide Squad sequel, so let's see if he does that too. So the next show was Superman and Lois, where pretty much all we got was a reveal that there will be a Season 2, and behind the scenes footage of day 1 shooting Season 2, which was pretty much just a look at the Clark Kent house. And honestly, I saw the first season and I thought it was pretty good. I think you guys should check it out. So next up we have Supergirl, and this is a show that I watched the majority of the seasons of, and I thought it was an alright show. Season 3 was pretty good. Outside of that, I wasn't the biggest fan of the show, but it was pretty nice because they did a farewell tribute for the show, so we got to see a lot of the characters come back together, so it was a pretty nice experience. Next up we have Stargirl, which I actually really liked the first season of, and I haven't been able to watch the second season yet. So they showed an end of the season teaser, which I didn't watch. I turned my screen around and I just waited for 2 minutes until it was over. So the next show is My Adventures with Superman, So ever since I was 8 years old, I used to hang around with Superman. It was pretty cool. Like, we would fly around the city, and it was a pretty good adventure. But lately we haven't been able to do it. So yeah, those are my adventures with Superman.
Psych! That's the wrong number!
So my adventures with Superman is actually going to be an animated show. And it looks like a pretty cool concept. And pretty much all we got for this show were some first look images. So yeah, I think I'll check it out when it comes out. Next up we got Doom Patrol, which is one show that I'm very disappointed I haven't seen any of. I really want to get into this show. And it gave a sneak peek for some of the things coming up in Season 3, and it also revealed that there will be a Season 4. The next show we got was The Sandman, which we actually got the first trailer for at FanDome a couple weeks ago, which was the big Netflix event. And here, instead of showing us a trailer or anything like that, they gave us a first look image at Lucifer. So this show, it actually looks pretty cool, and I'm not sure if I'll check it out, but definitely if it has good ratings, I think that's what could get me to see it. So the next show is Smallville, which when I saw it at the intro, I kind of thought that they were going to revive the show, which would have been really cool. But obviously that's not what they did. Instead, what they did was they showed a clip of some of the memorable moments of the show, and then they got the actors for Clark Kent and Lex Luthor back together to have a conversation. So I found it to be a pretty nice moment, and yeah, pretty much that's all for Smallville. So the next show is Batwoman, and this is a show that I really never got into, and I think I would have started watching it if I never saw Gotham, because I had always wanted one of those shows that we got to see a ton of Batman's rogue gallery, and I know that Batwoman does that, but the fact that I saw it in Gotham kind of deterred me from wanting to watch Batwoman so much. So what we got from the Batwoman panel were a Batwoman and Alice trailer and a Batwoman and Alice scene, which basically put Batwoman and her arch nemesis in these shows on the same team, where they were working together to take on some new villains. So I mean, it's a pretty interesting concept, but I wasn't really too interested since I haven't seen the show. So next up, we have Constantine, House of Mystery. So this is going to be an animated short, which will star Matt Ryan. So I'm pretty excited for this one. And I'm wondering if it will be part of the Arrowverse or the CWverse or whatever they're calling it now. So yeah, I'm wondering if this is going to be that same Constantine and how all the animated Constantine content fits in with all of the live action Constantine content. Next up, we have Legends of Tomorrow, which pretty much just had a panel because it's about to have its 100th episode. So they did a little reel of some of the most memorable moments from the show, which was pretty nice. I've seen most of the seasons, not the last one. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty nice moment. Next up, we have Batwheels. So for this show, we got the theme song of the show, and we got some first look images. So honestly, the show, it doesn't look horrible. I kind of feel like it's Cars meets DC, which is an interesting concept, but I don't think it'll be the most entertaining. But what they were saying was that you have to be a kid at heart to watch. You don't necessarily have to be a little kid to enjoy it. You can be an adult, but you have to be a kid at heart. So if people enjoy it, who knows, maybe I'll check it out. We'll see. Next show, we have Titans, which gave us a Season 3 scene from the finale, which I did not watch because I'm not up to date with the show. And they also announced that there will be a Season 4, which I'm pretty excited for. So the next show was Harley Quinn, which gave us a sizzle reel of some of the artwork that they've been doing for the show, which honestly didn't excite me all that much. It was kind of boring, which disappointed me because I am a fan of the Harley Quinn show, and I'm looking forward to Season 3, so I was hoping to see more from this panel. So next up, one of the shows that I'm extremely extremely excited for is Batman the Caped Crusader. So this show, it's being made by Bruce Timm, who was one of the main individuals on Batman the Animated Series. And it's also being produced by J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves being the director of the new Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. So they mentioned how this show is going to be the early stages of Batman, where he starts with low tech and he'll eventually gain more and more intelligent technology and a Batmobile that reminds us of the ones from The Dark Knight and movies like that. So I find that to be a really interesting concept where he doesn't have that tech. And something else that they mentioned was that it's more Batman the Animated Series than Batman the Animated Series. So what Bruce Timm meant by this was that he had a very specific vision for Batman the Animated Series, but since it had to fit in the lens of being a kid's show to an extent, he couldn't do all the things that he wanted to. Now with this show, he wants it to be his original vision for Batman the Animated Series, where it's the entire heartfelt story that series gave us, the perfect combination of Bruce Wayne and Batman, but it also gives us more violence, some adult themes, and some adult content, which we didn't really get to see as much of in the animated series. And something else that was mentioned was that nothing is to be assumed in the series from what we're used to seeing in the world of Batman. For example, there could be a situation where, honestly, Commissioner Gordon does not like Batman at all, and it stays that way forever. And we don't know. This is supposed to be a new story that we haven't seen, and I'm really excited to see what they do with this one. It's supposed to be a noir show, so it's going to be really cool. So the next show I want to talk about is Young Justice Phantoms, which is season 4 of Young Justice, a show which I absolutely love. I've seen all 3 seasons, and I've been looking forward to this 4th one. So one thing that I really wanted from DC FanDome was for them to tell us when this new season is going to take place, when it's going to start. You know, we haven't really gotten that information, so I was looking forward to that. And what they say in DC FanDome is the first 2 episodes started streaming during DC FanDome. So I'm definitely going to be watching that soon. I haven't gotten around to it, but I'm definitely going to be watching those episodes soon. We also got a trailer for the 4th season, which gave some good reveals, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. Next up, we have the show DMZ, which I had never heard of before, but honestly, it's a pretty cool concept. It starts Rosario Dawson, where it takes place in the future, where there's a civil war between the USA, the United States of America, and the FSA, the Free States of America. And honestly, it sounds pretty interesting. I'll probably check it out if it gets good ratings. If not, I won't. So let's see what happens with it. The next show is Naomi, which is a coming-of-age story where we get to see this teenage girl grow into her abilities. And we saw this scene in the show where we see Superman fly over her as she passes out. And it kind of confirms that she will be in the Arrowverse or the CW-verse. So I'm really excited for that. I'm not sure if I'll check it out. That's another show that it depends on the ratings, but it looks pretty good, so I think I'll check it out. The next show is Sweet Tooth. I'm pretty intrigued by the concept of the show, but I haven't gotten around to watching season 1. So what they did was they had a conversation about the show, and one of the things that they said was that there will be a season 2. So that's pretty good news for them. That shows that the show is doing pretty well. So maybe I will check out the first season. And the last bit of TV show news that they gave us was the show Pennyworth, where they announced that there will be a season 3, and that season 3 will have a 5-year time jump from the previous season. And they also announced that season 3 will become an HBO Max exclusive, comparatively to the past where it was not. So season 1 through season 3 will all be streaming when season 3 comes out. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I haven't had a chance to watch the show, but it seems like a pretty cool concept. These are all the shows that DC mentioned at DC FanDome. They obviously have more in development. Like, they have the Gotham City Police Department TV show, which is going to be a prequel to The Batman, which I'm very excited about that film, and I'm very excited about that show. And they also have another spin-off of The Batman, which will be the show focused on the Penguin, which they recently announced. And then you also have the Green Lantern Corps show. So you have a lot of things in development. Sadly, they couldn't get to all of it today, but I'm sure in the upcoming years, we'll definitely get more info on them. So remember, this is part 2 of the 3-episode series, which is going to now go into the films that we got introduced to at DC FanDome. So make sure to watch that 3rd video, and I hope you've enjoyed DC FanDome, and thank you for watching Big Flick Energy.